Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you one of the most popular openings for black, the Sicilian defense. So the Sicilian defense starts with e4 and then black plays c5. So you're preventing d4, you're not exactly preventing it, but c4 is a very solid move in which you can, after white, take, what I like is taking space, the McDonald attack, and after b6 you're trying to fianchetto your bishop on this long diagonal, or after c6 there are many variations. So first I'm going to show variations for white. You can play the Smith-Morra gambit, after which you're trying to give black this pawn. You shouldn't take with the queen because again it gets chased around. Instead, playing c3 is good because after takes you can just transform it into one of the Danish gambits. It looks like a Danish gambit, right? But the thing is that black is less developed and none of his pieces are open, and you can't do the Copenhagen defense anymore. So this is if the Smith-Morra gambit accepted, and then if you transform it into the Danish version that I just showed, white is actually stronger than in the Danish gambit because white doesn't have any defenses to do with. So if we go back, instead of the Smith-Morra gambit, you can play one of the popular lines, knight f3, which you want again to push this pawn to d4 and then take it with your knight. So after which black plays knight c3, which is called the old Sicilian variation, and you play d4 anyway. It's called the open, and after black takes, so after this series of trades, the queen's in the center and nothing can attack it, and it's also attacking many things at the same time. So if we go back again, black doesn't need to accept this, and he can try to kick out the knight with e5, which is called the Lowenthal defense. So you're threatening this knight again. You can take it, but if you take with the queen's pawn, then the black king is stuck in the center, and if you take with this pawn, it's also fine, where you can fianchetto your bishop. But if we go back here, and also instead of fianchettoing your bishop, you can also play d5. But that does lose because of this knight. But if white does something else, like bishop e3, then you can play d5, and you have two pawns in the center, and you're going to have a good game. So if we go back again, instead of taking the pawn, you can also just play something else, like attacking the knight. But instead you should take the pawn, and after which black can play a6, which prevents this knight and also this bishop. This isn't an opening, but if you delay the a6 right here and after takes, you play knight f6, attacking this pawn, and white can just trade again, but white mostly plays knight c3, protecting the pawn, and then if you play a6, then you're preventing three things at the same time. This is called a Najdorf Sicilian. So you can take the knight, or you can just retreat the knight back. So if we go back again, instead of the open Sicilian, you can also play c3, which is the Alpin variation, where you don't want to open anything, where you don't want to develop anything yet, and just strike in the center of d4 again. So knight f, let's just say they play knight c3, and then after trade you have 2 pawns in the center, which is going to give you a solid structure. So again, you can also play bishop c4, which is called the boulder attack, and you're preventing black from expanding. Also, after c5, white can just play b4, which is called the wing gambit, because you're gambiting a pawn on the wing or the queen side, in which after takes you have a full center again. This center is going to be strong because you can just give away another pawn with, after, let's just say knight f6, you can attack the knight, and then after attacking, after you reach this kind of position, you can just play a3, and then after takes you have open a file, and your bishop or rook that's going to take it is going to be a bit annoying for black. So again, here, instead of the wing gambit, there's also another thing you can play. It's called knight c3. It's called the Sicilian defense closed. So you close up the position. No matter what black tries, it's going to be closed for the first few moves. So in the closed position, there are many ways to handle the closed position. If you play knight c6, then white can play f4, taking more space. It's called the Grand Prix attack. And after, you get a very close position in both sides. So the Grand Prix attack is for this long structure here. And then after some moves, you just castle, and the position is closed. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so let's go back here. So again, there's another attack. Oh no, I just did the McDonald attack, right? So you can play c4. It's called the Staunton Cochrane variation. And this doesn't work because it's not a gambit, and there's no use in doing this. And there's also another variation in which after knight f3 is played, you play e5. It's called the Jalalabad variation. Even though the knight takes, you have strong developing chances again. You can play d6, or you can do a Stafford gambit, the other side of the Stafford gambit. And after takes, you're again in the Stafford gambit type of play. So if we go back again, another move is d5. After takes, you can play the same thing as white, knight f6, and you're going to regain that pawn back. If white plays fc4, then again you can play this, and after takes, you have a bishop again, and a bishop that's developed, and black is pretty good, even though he's a pawn down, because he has more development. So here, instead of that, you can also play d3 or anything that you like. This is called the Snyder variation. You want to put the bishop on the long diagonal, or after c5 you can also play a4, which is called the Myers attack. It prevents this, which doesn't prevent much, but you're going to have, after this is also a type of a closed position. You're going to play c4, and you're going to just put a W kind of structure. So it's kind of, wait. So you have to develop your pieces first because you have 3 pawns and no pieces. So after some things, obviously you're still preventing this move from happening. You're preventing d5 from still happening. And if we go back, you can also play knight f3, knight c6, and then play a c3, which is also the Alpine variation. Or in the starting you can play the Alpine variation. So any type is fine, the delayed or the normal Alpine variation. And another good move for black is just b6, which is called the Katalimov variation, where you're fianchetting the bishop on the long diagonal again. Or g6, which is called the hyper accelerated dragon variation. The dragon variation gives good results for black after these moves. So here you have to be careful. If you play something like d3 and after bishop fianchettos, so yeah, after bishop fianchettos and you play knight f3, actually wait, yeah, so if you play d3, the white queen can check. I know that the bishop can go attack the queen, but instead if you play knight c3, then black can fianchetto the bishop and you're trying to attack the king. After some moves, you'll get a good position for black in which you're trying to attack this knight. This isn't that dangerous because you can just protect it with bishop d2. But if we go back again, instead of the dragon so quick, you can play knight c6, and then after d4, the open variation, you can also do the same thing. So if white takes, you can either put your bishop on the long diagonal because that pawn isn't going anywhere, or instead you can just regain the pawn back with your queen. Double attack on both the two pieces. So again, if we go back here in the closed variation, the dragon variation is also fine, but the game is going to be mostly closed. So again, if we go back, in the McDonald attack, you can also just play knight c6, and after knight f6, knight f3, after takes, you have some good chances. After f3, if takes, then you again have more development and you can just pin the pawn back, in which after the knight does get chased away, but it does have some strong attacking chances. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.